Hi, I'm Jenny.
And my name is Christy. Today, we will be explaining how to write a synthesis essay. Well, first off, what is a synthesis essay? This is one of the 3 essays that are on the AP Language and Composition exam. In this essay, you will have to write about your viewpoint based on the given prompt, but back up your claim by including or synthesizing the sources that are given. The sources given can be anything from documents to tables and graphs to comics. Here is a sample prompt from one of the previous exams. With this prompt, it is asking for you to consider the implications of fairy tales in childhood development. The prompt is pretty open-ended, so whatever claim you make, it will be acceptable. Just be sure to stay consistent with your claim as you write the essay. The synthesis essay prompt usually gives about 6 to 7 sources, all which are identified by letters in the alphabet beginning with the letter A. Such sources can range from newspaper articles and online articles to tables and statistics and to comics and pictures. Not all of the sources may be useful, so use the ones where the information given will help you with your essay. It is very important to include a sufficient amount of evidence relative to your claim. When citing the sources in your essay, it is acceptable to write them as source and the letter of that source rather than writing the title or author of it. Here are some sample sources from an old AP exam. Going from left to right, the first source is a testimony of Philippe de Montebello, director of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, about the reinstitution of art stolen by the Nazis during the Holocaust. Moving on to the next source, here is a table from a research report about assessing perceptions from students on academic integrity. Finally, the source on the right side is a comic or cartoon of a meeting. As you read the sources, it is important to take notes about it. This is called annotating. The purpose of this is to understand the passage more easily as you go back to it for reference. There are many ways to annotate a given text. You could underline important phrases or sentences, circle key words or phrases, star or put brackets between the beginning and end of an important section in the passage, or write in the margins next to the paragraph, whether it may be a paraphrase of that or how it relates to your claim. Just remember, the essay is timed, and so it is best to make marks around information important to you. Disregard the unnecessary information. Here is a sample annotation from a student on a source from the AP exam. We can see that the student clearly underlines important information such as parts of each paragraph, circles important phrases, and writes in the margins about certain parts of the passage.
The next thing we will talk about today is the recommended timing of your synthesis essay. It is recommended that you use 15 minutes of your reading time that you're given to annotate your sources and outline your argument. The next 40 minutes can be spent writing down your essay. The proctor will let you know when your 15 minutes are over, so try your best to be efficient with your reading period. It is highly recommended that you spend all of the 40 minutes writing. Even though it seems like a long time, 40 minutes goes by very quickly, so it's really important to annotate and outline your argument within the 15 minutes you're given.
After reading through all the sources, it is time to begin writing your essay. To begin it, start off with an introduction. You could include a personal anecdote, address a counter-argument and make a concession or rebuttal, or make a claim about the significance of the issue or topic. The introduction does not necessarily have to be super long, since you are limited in the amount of time you have to write it, but make sure to end it with a thesis statement. This should be your claim or viewpoint about the given prompt. The inclusion of this will help the reader know what your essay will be about. Here are ways to write your thesis statement. You could take the position which makes a qualification, takes a stand and offers supporting points, or argues the importance of considering certain factors or implications before making a particular decision.
The next aspect we will be talking about today is how to write your 3-body paragraphs. As you can see from the tips on the bottom of the slide, although it's not required, it's highly recommended to have 3-body paragraphs and 3 main points, where each paragraph focuses on one main point. To write your body paragraph, we will use a 3-step process. The first step in the 3-step process is to choose your first main point to support your thesis. This will be your first main idea that successfully supports your argument. The second step is to reread the sources, looking for evidence to support your main point. You will choose which sources can best help you make your argument regarding your chosen main point. Finally, you will explain the ideas of the sources in a way that supports your main point. It is very important to articulate your thoughts and analyses about the sources instead of simply copying and quoting the sources. This way, you are bringing your own ideas into your essay. Afterwards, you can repeat the 3 steps 2 more times with 2 more main points to successfully express your argument. For the conclusion, we will once again use a 3-step process. First, we will reiterate our thesis statement. Make sure you rephrase the thesis statement so that it's structured differently than it was in the introduction. Definitely refrain from copying word to word from the thesis in your intro. Next, summarize each main point in your argument with supporting details. This should be a brief overview of your ideas, so be sure not to go into too much depth about them. The third step would be explaining why your argument is important and relevant. Explain how your argument relates to the reader. Finally, end with a thought-provoking statement about the real-life application of your argument. This should get your readers thinking about what they can do to support your argument. Because you only have 40 minutes to write your essay, the conclusion definitely isn't the most important part. The body paragraphs are a lot more important. So if you're short on time, don't panic. Because you only have 40 minutes, your graders aren't expecting a perfect essay with a perfect conclusion. They are more concerned about your arguments that you state in the body paragraphs. Your essay is definitely not doomed if you omit steps 2 and 3 in the conclusion or even the whole paragraph. We will end our lesson with a couple friendly reminders. The first one is to cite at least 4 sources. Even though only 3 are required, citing 4 sources gives you the opportunity to show your graders that you understand how to analyze your sources and how to apply them to your essay. The second tip is make sure not to plagiarize. You can cite your sources by putting them in brackets at the end of your sentence. This way, your graders know that you're not copying other people's ideas and handing them off as your own. They understand that you have learned how to cite your sources in a way so that you're giving credibility to the authors. The third one is that even if you are citing your sources, make sure to rephrase and analyze the ideas instead of just copying. This shows that you understand the material in depth and can apply it to your own argument. The fourth thing is that a strong and clear thesis is absolutely essential. It's important to have a strong argument and strong points that support it. The last one is to be original. Make sure you are not only copying the argument of the sources, but you are contributing your own ideas into your essay. You want the essay to be completely yours and full of your own ideas.
This concludes our lesson on how to write a synthesis essay. Thanks for listening.